NBA trade deadline is a little bit more than 2 weeks away, and it should make for some exciting news this year. Unlike years past, we have a lot of viable NBA teams that could become potential contenders if they make the right moves at the trade deadline. We've already seen teams like the New York Knicks pick up OG Anunoby and the Indiana Pacers picking up Pascal Siakam. So the moves have been flying so far, and I expect a lot more moves to come as we get closer to this trade deadline. In today's video, I'll give you a list of 3 teams who I feel need to make a move, and if they make the right moves at the deadline, could possibly put them over the top in contention as we get closer to the playoffs. But before we get into this video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment down below, and stay tuned for more videos just like this one. Around this time of the year, there's always a lot of rumors swirling around teams making specific moves at the deadline. But I wanted to focus on teams that are currently slated to make the playoffs, and if they make these potential moves that I have listed in the video, could possibly put them over the top as they potentially could make a run to the NBA Finals. I wanted it to be realistic as well with these trades and give you potential trades that could very well possibly happen by the February 8th trade deadline. First team that I want to discuss is the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat seem to be in the same position every year, at least in the Jimmy Butler era, where they're having a pretty okay regular season, but they're just treading along until they get to the playoffs, where they turn into a team nobody really wants to face. This team always feels like they're one move away from being a potential championship team, and that has a chance to go on a dynastic type of run where they win 2 championships in 3 or 4 years. They're always trying to go after the next big superstar that decides that he does not want to play for his current team anymore, and they always seem to be in on every big name superstar for at least the last couple seasons. So for this trade, I had to keep that in mind because I want to maintain their flexibility for when a Donovan Mitchell potentially becomes available this summer. For the actual trade, I have the Miami Heat acquiring Terry Rozier and Nick Richards from the Charlotte Hornets in exchange for Kyle Lowry, Thomas Bryant, and a first-round pick. The Heat need somebody that can increase their offensive production, especially from the point guard position, because they only rank 25th in the league in points per game. Simply put, they just need more players capable of scoring and creating shots for themselves. And in a league where scoring production from the point guard position has become vitally important, they just needed more out of that position because they were only able to get 8.2 points per game from Kyle Lowry as the start of the season. They needed to get faster, younger, more athletic at the position as well, and Terry Rozier checks all of those boxes for them. Terry Rozier has been playing really well this season and has made himself a very attractive trade piece. He's averaged a career-high 24 points per game, 6.8 assists, 45% shooting from the field, 37% shooting from the three-point line, and the addition of Rozier also alleviates the pressure off guys like Tyler Hero and Josh Richardson from having to play the point guard position because they have really been uncomfortable doing that this season, and they both have struggled at times in that role. And it will also give the Miami Heat a formidable scoring option to go alongside Tyler Hero in the backcourt to help alleviate the pressure on Jimmy Butler to always have to be the person to go score for them, and allows him to just ease his way into games and take over in the fourth quarter when he has to. The offense will be a lot less stagnant through points in the game and should create a lot of easy opportunities for everyone on the floor. And the Nick Richards addition to the squad allows the Miami Heat a lot more size, which they don't necessarily have right now. When they take Bam out of the game, it also gives them the flexibility not to have to rely on a veteran like Kevin Love to play every night. So it keeps Kevin Love a little bit more fresh when it comes playoff time, when they do really need that veteran presence. This move also could potentially get them back to the conference finals and even make a finals run, which is the end goal for the Miami Heat. The most important thing is it allows them the flexibility that they need for when they're trying to make that superstar move in the summer, for when a guy like Donovan Mitchell could potentially become available. Second team on my list is the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, just like the Miami Heat, the Philadelphia 76ers are always on the lookout for a third star to complement the core that they already have, but nobody's really out there that fits the mold of a third star for them or fits in the team's structure that they already have in place. But I really want to capitalize off this incredible season that Joel Embiid is having, especially since he's coming off a game where he just put up 70 points, and he's most likely going to be the back-to-back MVP this year. But with this potential trade idea, the only thing that really stops his team from potentially winning it all is the health of Joel Embiid come playoff time. Posed is the Philadelphia 76ers acquiring Bogdan Bogdanovic from the Detroit Pistons in exchange for Markieff Morris, KJ Martin, a second-round pick, and a first-round pick. Acquiring Bogdanovic gives the Philadelphia 76ers a potentially scary starting five that could feature guys like Maxey and Melton in the backcourt, with Tobias Harris and Bogdanovic on the wings, and Joel Embiid manning the middle. This gives them another viable scoring threat, and it opens up the floor even more for Joel Embiid as he has ample room to go to work in the post offensively. This also frees Tobias Harris of the pressures of having to consistently be that third scoring option for them every night, especially in the playoffs where he does tend to struggle. And the Philadelphia 76ers currently ranked about 13th in the league as a team, shooting just about 37% from the three-point line. So adding a shooter like Bogdanovic, who right now in the season is shooting 41% from the three-point line, would do wonders for this Philadelphia 76ers offense, who could use some more shooting. This move also makes their bench unit even more stronger, because now they'll be featuring guys like Kelly Oubre, Nicholas Batum, Pat Bev, and Daniel House coming off the bench. And I already had this team going to the Eastern Conference Finals, but this move potentially elevates the Philadelphia 76ers as a team that could potentially go to the NBA Finals. This is that all-in aggressive move the 76ers need to capitalize off, especially when they have the back-to-back MVP, Joel Embiid, having a ridiculous season, so he can finally have his chance to reach the NBA Finals. This move also provides the flexibility come this summer when it's time to potentially add that third star they've been looking for. The third team that I want to talk about is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, they don't necessarily seem primed to make a move, but they really should consider making one. They have a roster full of young players and a boatload of draft picks that they can easily use to upgrade the team for this year as they look to make that playoff push and a potential finals run. They come out the gate so strong this season as they currently stand second in the Western Conference and only a half game behind the Minnesota Timberwolves, who they just recently beat for first place in the Western Conference. They probably have the league's best young core in SGA, Chet Holmgren, Josh Giddey, and Jalen Williams. They still have a couple of more young players with room to grow potentially in Lu Dort and Carson Wallace. The Oklahoma City Thunder, in my opinion, are on the brink of becoming perennial contenders and a team that you look to be in that finals run every year, kind of similar to what the Warriors did a couple of years ago. Now, for this season specifically, I still do think that there are a few pieces away, but Sam Presti, the general manager of the Oklahoma City Thunder, should be more hard-pressed to make a move and be a lot more aggressive to capitalize off the success that they've shown this season. Now, I think this trade really does give them the potential to make that finals run, while also maintaining the flexibility needed for when they have to sign some of these young players in the future. But I do think that this move could potentially put them over the top. The trade I propose them making is acquiring Royce O'Neal from the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for Pokusevski and 2 second-round picks. I think this is the perfect target for a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder because it gives them another wing defender to go along with Lu Dort and Kendrick Williams, and it also provides them another shooter to space the floor. It also adds more size on the wing to guard the bigger threes and the small ball fours that I'll most likely see in the playoffs. And right now, the Thunder are 7th in the league in defensive rating, and they're also the second best three-point shooting team in terms of percentage at 39%. So adding to their strength could go a long way come playoff time. Plus, having multiple shooting wings and strong wing defenders are things playoff teams always look for at the trade deadline. So this is the type of move that the Thunder should make. This move also gives them a veteran presence as a guy who's been in the playoffs numerous times and has had some success in the playoffs as well. Making the move this year not only capitalizes off this team's success, but I think it's the necessary move that is required for a young team like that to have success in the playoffs. And it also allows them to keep their financial flexibility going forward when they have to pay some of their younger guys, the younger core players, as I mentioned before. And it also allows them to keep most of their first round picks to potentially use in a bigger trade for a superstar player that could become available over